Pagans and Practitioners. I'm Larissa. You are listening to your Witchy Big Sister podcast, and we are talking protection magic today. Before I jump into this episode, I want to let you guys know that I just got a new mic in. The sound may sound a little iffy the first couple episodes. I promise I'm trying to figure it out and get this as smoothly as I can possibly get it. Just bear with me for a couple episodes. I think this episode is a good place to remind all the new witches, and well, maybe some of you more experienced ones, that witchcraft at times can be dangerous. I don't bring this up to scare you or run you off from the craft or make you think that this isn't something that you can do. But here on this podcast, I want the hard truths. I want for you guys to stay safe and stay informed. I've noticed a trend among mainly New Age practitioners to say that every single aspect of the craft is safe, especially for beginners, and this isn't necessarily the truth. Anyone telling you that witchcraft is all love and light and all safe is lying to you, and, well, probably themselves as well. As you know, protection magic can be crucial. As far as spell work goes, this is really what I suggest learning first. It's an important skill to master, especially before performing complicated spell work. Now, what exactly is protection magic? It's anything that creates a protective shield around yourself, a space, or a situation. Its goal is to keep any negative or harmful energies out while holding all the good stuff in. Because of this, it's important to always cleanse before putting up protection. You can think of it as like a brick wall that you're building up around you. If you don't kick out the negativity that's already there with you, it's going to be trapped in. So cleanse first, magical working second. And with all protections, I suggest redoing or recharging them often, especially if you and your craft have some presence online. You know, even with my small following, I charge and redo my own wards about once a month. Opening your craft and sharing intimate details of it with others kind of opens you up to potential harm. So it's always best to be safe rather than sorry. There's many different methods to protection magic, and when it comes to the spell work, I suggest looking at Arin Murphy-Hiscock's book, Protection Spells. As she puts it, spellcrafting can help you feel more secure, protect your positive energy, and bring the kind of comfort that allows you to relax and live your life to its full potential. This book, as its subtitle suggests, helps you learn how to clear negative energies, banish unhealthy influence, and enhance your inner power. If you are sensitive to energy like me, spell work and wards can be especially helpful to guard your own energy from outside influence. So let's talk a little bit about wards. These are typically semi-permanent protective energy barriers. They continuously keep out all the things you don't want in your space. You can create wards to allow certain entities in and keep everything else out, or just keep all of it from entering. However, if you work with or want to work with guides or deities, you really should learn how to do the former. Wards can be a longer lasting form of protection than, say, doing a quick spell. But they're sometimes created to exist only for a brief period of time. Wards can also be physical or energetic, and like I mentioned before, you should always be cleansing yourself and your tools before putting them up. You can do this with incense. My favorite for this is frankincense, sandalwood, or blue sage, sound, visualization, making a cleansing spray, or really whatever your preferred method is. There are also two types of wards. There are spatial wards and personal wards. Spatial are put on or surrounding a space with the intent of creating a bubble of protection around it. One you have probably come across in early research is the idea of casting a circle before spell work. This has the intent of creating an energetic field to protect and support your workings. I personally do not cast circles. I instead will light a candle for protection or rely on my permanent wards that support my spell work. There isn't one right way to do protection. The important thing is that you have some form of it up. I do want to add, though, if you do prefer to cast a circle and want to do rituals outside, please don't use salt. Table salt can damage plant life, and instead you can use crushed eggshells, which has the exact same outcome as salt. Now, personal wards, on the other hand, are made to protect yourself. They are commonly things like jewelry or pocket stones, and wards can also include things like sigils, crystals, houseplants, energy, enchanted objects, candles, witches' bottles or jar spells, herb satchels, enchanted hearth spaces, veils, and many, many more. They can be temporary, like candles or casting a circle, or more permanent, like decoration in your home or your garden. Either way, it's important to do maintenance on your wards regularly. Things such as sigils should be recharged at least once a month, and I suggest changing up where you place them as well. This can kind of shake up any attacks that may be coming your way. So how should you cast, cleanse, and charge your wards? There are several methods of setting up your wards. Definitely do more research into these to figure out which one speaks to you. My personal favorite way for physical wards is to work with energy and visualization. I will take my object, or space if I'm working on spatial wards, and I will channel my energy and my intent into it by imagining a path of light passing from my body into the object. If this is the method that you choose, make sure to ground yourself beforehand. As you visualize the light flowing into your object, you can watch it slowly get brighter until it is completely glowing, or if you just feel like it's done. You can also add vocal spellwork into this process if it feels right to you. You can find a chant that corresponds to your intention or create one your own. This can be done aloud or in your head, whatever works best for you. You should periodically cleanse and recharge these wards if you want to continue using them. Just as you put energy into them, they can trap energies as they protect you. Now choose your favorite cleansing method to clear them and just do this charging ritual over again. Your wards can be created with 3 basic subfunctions. They can be geared towards trapping, circumventing, or filtering. Trapping is typically used for entities. You can set up a ward to trap unwanted things. Circumventing diverts the negative energy away from you or your space, and filtering is probably the most common and allows everything except what you specify out. Now let's talk sigils for a minute. The word sigil comes from the Latin sigillum, meaning seal, and not the animal seal, like seal, when you seal a letter, something that traps things in, something that keeps things secure. A sigil is a carved, drawn, or painted symbol that carries magical and energetic properties. There are many techniques when it comes to creating your own sigils. Some are very complicated and some are really simplistic. I see them as an incredible way to personalize your workings, and they can be put on almost anything. My personal favorites are painted in foundation on my skin before blending. I'll put them under my phone case, on windows and doors, all over my medicine bottles, under my pillows, and on all of my art supplies. That's just to name a few. They're basically little magical doodles, and by creating them, you can form your own symbolic language. Each sigil you create will have a specific job to do. When crafting, always use present language, such as I am, I have, it is. Don't start with things like I will be or I want. You shouldn't be making a wish. You should be speaking or, rather writing these things into existence. For example, a sigil to be placed on an entryway could start as something like, this place is protected from all harm. One method for creating sigils is to write out this petition, remove all vowels and duplicate letters, and then reduce each letter to its shape to scramble them up to form your own design. There are more dynamic and intuitive forms of sigil crafting, and if this is something that you would like to go in depth in, I really suggest Laura Tempest Zackroff's book, Sigil Witchery. Sigils can act as wards themselves, or can be utilized to charge and charm objects. I love using them for all purposes, and in fact, sigils were the first form of magic I really dove into. And as an artist, it's really something that I hold close to my heart. It's one of the ways I get to easily blend my work into my spirituality. So, what if you're in the broom closet and are worried about people asking about the strange and unfamiliar doodles on you? This is an easy thing to get around in this case. You can, you just gotta get creative. For doors and windows, you can mix up a magical wash, use salt water, household cleanser, or lemon juice to draw them on, and it'll dry invisible. You can create a sigil on paper and burn it to activate it. You can use chalk or a whiteboard, something that can be quickly erased if you need to, or you can just pass it off as a random doodle you did in boredom. You can also draw your sigils in the air with a wand or incense. Some forms of home protection I want to go over include wind chimes, which the sounds are thought to clear the energy of negative vibrations and attract positivity into your home. Railroad spikes were a charm that I was taught early in my practice. You can place them around the four corners of your property and it wards off evil. Other methods for protection can include stirring your intention into your coffee or your tea, stirring counterclockwise to banish. You can also make a batch of black salt. Black salt can be used in spell work or rituals and has extremely potent protective powers. My go-to method is to collect ash from my incense and mix in a few protective herbs and activated charcoal. Eggshell powder is also a really good ingredient to add to your collection when it comes to protection. The symbol of the pinnacle as well is in itself a very protective talisman. You can find jewelry to wear and bring it with you. One thing I love to do is to create bath salts with corresponding oils and herbs. Just be aware of any skin irritants. One form of protection I use on almost a daily basis is my veil. I use it specifically for psychic and emotional protection. I have this annoying little habit of getting easily overwhelmed in public spaces and absorbing a lot of the emotion and the stressors of those around me. So I charge my veil to help assist with this. This is one I cleanse and recharge every week, if not more often. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to go over some correspondences that you can include into your own magical workings. If you like to incorporate time, the full moon, Mondays, Saturdays, and Sundays are all really good time for casting these spells. Candle colors to use are black and white, and a few good crystals are jet, carnelian, aventurine, hematite, obsidian, onyx, clear and smoky quartz, petrified wood, black tourmaline, and a couple others I'll list in a second. For emotional protection, use rose and obsidian. For psychic protection, use dragon's blood, mugwort, rosemary, sage, and St. John wort. Angelite, calcite, and carnelian. For spiritual protection, use mistletoe, mullein, rosemary, thyme, calcite, and tiger's eye. And that'll be all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys want to support the podcast, you can go to Apple Podcasts and leave me a 5-star review. That really is the best way to get the word out there.